What's poppin'? Brand new whip just popped in. Yeah, that's right. It's one of the most exciting times in any person's life. It's time to get a new car. And what you gonna go with? The new sleek new 2021 Mercedes S-Class? You gonna ball out in a Tesla Roadster? You hear that they brought back the Ford Bronco? I mean, man, I absolutely love cars. And if you don't believe me, check out our Ideal Cars YouTube channel with over 900,000 subscribers. But don't click out of this video just yet, because I'm gonna help you out with a very important decision. Whether you should buy your car with cash or with a loan, or should you lease it? In this video, I'm gonna discuss the differences between these options, and spoiler alert, one of them is way, way, way better than the other. Now, if you're new here, my name's Brad Danger, this is Ideal. So hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, because we have a whole bunch more content coming at you. And this is buying versus leasing a car, and why leasing is a certified scam. Let's go. So I guess I just told you which financing option that you should go with, but leasing, yes, it is a scam. But before I get into exactly why, which is actually really interesting, we're gonna go through the differences between the two and what they mean for your bank account. So, first off, there are two ways to buy a car. You can either pay it with outright cash, or you can go for a car loan. Buying in cash is exactly what it sounds like. That Bugatti Veyron that costs 1.9 million, you know, that Stradman bought, no problem. Just show up at the dealership with a suitcase full of 2 million or charge it on your platinum card. And then you can just drive off the lot with full ownership. Man, if only I could do that. So, plan B, the other option, is to apply for financing, which is pretty straightforward. You basically apply for a loan from a bank, credit union, or other lending institution, and they pay for your car. And then you owe them for the cost of the car plus interest. That's how they make their money. Now, you're gonna have to make a series of payments, part of which is paying down the principal, which is the actual ticket price of the actual car. And the other part is the interest on the loan. Your interest rate is going to depend on a number of factors, like your income, the kind of car you're buying, and your credit score. And trust me, if you wanna finance your car, you're gonna want a high credit score. And if you're interested in how to boost your credit score, well, go check out our Credit Cards 101 video up here for some great tips. Anyway, there you go. You make all your payments, pay the principal all the way down, and pay all the interest on the loan. And guess what? That car is finally yours. You're free to do with it whatever you want to. Now, on the other hand, you have leasing. And since car prices are continuing to rise, I mean, the average price of a new car being over $47,000. And since people these days really want all that high-tech safety features that only comes in a brand new car, more and more people are choosing to lease, thinking that it's the more affordable option. Also, while a lot of leases have mileage restrictions, meaning you can only drive your car a certain number of miles over the time that you lease it, a lot of people are working from home these days. And so that's not a problem whatsoever. In fact, many people are ending their car leases with a bunch of unused miles, which just means that you kind of wasted some money. So, how does leasing actually work? Well, as you know, cars depreciate in value the more you drive them. So, over the term of the lease, the car is going to lose some value. Let's say that the price of a 2022 Subaru Outback is $27,000. But after 2 years, the lease company thinks that it's going to be worth $18,000. That $9,000 is what your lease is based on. Basically, if your lease is for 2 years, you're gonna have to pay $9,000 over a series of payments during those 2 years, plus a bunch of financing charges on top of that. Of course, if you're only paying down the difference between the car's value new and its value at the end of the lease term, it's gonna be a whole lot cheaper than a car loan, in which you have to pay down the whole value of the car. But even though your monthly payments on a lease are going to be way less than a loan, is leasing really a better deal? Well, let's look at some pros and cons of leasing before you decide what's right for you. Now, I know I already said that leasing was the worst of the two options, but there are some reasons that you would want to lease and it has an advantage. First of all, you're gonna get to drive a new car, and probably a nicer car than you could if you got a car loan. Since, well, the payments are smaller, plus you're going to get a newer model in its most trouble-free years, which means, well, it's probably not gonna break down on you. It'll have all those top-of-the-line safety features that you really, really need, or at least you think you do, and you can show it off to all your friends. Plus, most leases include free oil changes and scheduled maintenance, which means that you won't have to factor unexpected repairs into your budget. Whereas, well, if you own the car and you need to have a part replaced, the cost falls entirely on you. And then there's also the fact that if you own the car and you decide to sell it and go with something else, you're gonna have to go through the hassle of finding a buyer. Plus, you'll have to worry about those price fluctuations because, well, some cars depreciate a whole lot more than others. So with a lease, you don't have to worry about any of that. Your lease payments stay the same regardless of how much your car depreciates. And when the lease term ends, you just drop the keys off at the dealer and you're good to go. Easy. But there's a cost for being so easy. And, well, since, yes, there are some nice things about leasing a car, let's talk about why leasing is a scam. And first of all, if you lease a car, it's probably gonna end up costing you more than if you bought it with a loan. Why? Because, well, when the lease is up, you have nothing but a burning hole in your pocket. And when a loan is paid off, you have an asset that you can resell. Now, you're probably not gonna be net positive when you sell your car that you own, but the total losses are gonna be a whole lot less than if you leased. Also, once you pay off your loan, you have a car to drive, and the longer you drive that car, the more value you're getting out of it, and who knows, maybe you drive a car all the way to 1,000,000 miles, which if you do, hit me up on Instagram, because, well, you got a great deal out of it. And by contrast, you're only allowed to drive a leased car a certain number of miles, and if you exceed that number, oh baby, you're gonna have to pay an excess mileage penalty, which can be from 10 cents to 50 cents or more per mile. If you don't go over that mileage limit, well, then you just paid for miles that you didn't use. It's kind of a lose-lose because you never hit it right on the button. And while you may get scheduled maintenance with a lease for free or free, they expect you to return the car in factory condition, which means that leather scratches, little dents, and that dried up Chipotle guacamole under the driver's seat are all gonna turn into fat fees that you'll have to pay when you return it. And here's the worst part. If you end up hating the car, or something happens and you can't afford the payments anymore, you're gonna get slapped with fees in the thousands for returning the car early. Sometimes these fees can equal as much as the entire lease itself, or worse. Now you can see why I'm calling leasing a scam. Right? Trav knows. So, don't lease your car. Got it, okay? Good. But what's the next best option for a new car? Well, yeah, what should you do? Not lease? Okay, cross that out. But those car loan payments are more than you can afford on a monthly basis. Well, you might want to look into long-term loans, which can let you spread those payments out over 8 years or even more. But be wary of that option as well, because long-term loans often leave you in a situation where you end up owing way more on the car than it's actually worth. Mostly because you're going to end up paying more interest because the loan term is longer. So, my advice, I'm glad you asked. I'd go with the less expensive model and pay it off in the shortest amount of time that you can afford. And yes, I know, you want that new Porsche, but maybe it's better to get that Honda instead. Get that Porsche next. You'll end up paying way less in interest if you pay off your loan faster, and you'll have a super reliable car that you own and can drive until you're old and gray, and then level up into that Porsche. Trust me, it's worth it. So, what's better than that? Well, buy a used car. You can hop into something super cool for way cheaper than a new car, and you might even find a car that appreciates in value. Seriously, check out the Ideal Cars videos about cars that actually went up in value. I own a few where I got paid to own them, which is definitely the best scenario. Anyways, now you know exactly why leases are a complete scam. Anyone ever been burned by a lease? Drop us a comment below and tell us your sob story. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, because you're not gonna wanna miss a thing. And check out this vid down here, because if you like this, you're gonna love that one on Ideal Money. I'm Brad, this is Ideal. Promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.